I funded my sister's entire life for 365 days. Until I found out she wasn't even in school. Karma hit her hard. For 12 straight months, I kept my sister afloat financially. Yet at a family holiday meal, she declared in front of everyone, "You're irritating me. Why are you even here?" I'd been wiring her $500 every single week without fail, but that evening, she said it loud enough for the whole table to hear. I was speechless and walked out on the spot. The very next day, she showed up at my place pleading for forgiveness. In hindsight, the warning signs were screaming at me, and I truly should have noticed sooner. It all started the previous year when my younger sister, Emily, came to me in tears, saying she couldn't possibly cover college on her own. She was family, of course I was going to help. She painted a picture of being completely overwhelmed, tuition, books, apartment rent, everything piling up. She swore no one else could assist her. Our parents had always been tight-fisted, especially with me when I was in school, and apparently they were doing the same to her now. So I became her safety net. I wasn't rich, but I had a steady paycheck, a small place, and almost no debt. I told myself, what's $500 a week if it lets her graduate? And that's how the routine began. Every Friday, the money landed in her account. For the first few months, I actually felt proud, like I was finally the reliable older sibling. Then little inconsistencies started bothering me. She never once talked about her courses, never mentioned final stress, never complained about a professor or shared a single grade. At first, I chalked it up to her being reserved. But one day my younger brother Alex let something slip during a random call. We were catching up when he said, "Yeah, Emily's apartment is pretty sweet now, she lives with a couple friends." My stomach dropped. Roommates. She'd sworn she was alone and drowning. That was supposedly why she needed so much help. I didn't accuse her right away. Instead, I started watching more closely. A few weeks later, I pressed Alex again about school. He got quiet, then admitted, "Honestly, I don't think she's even enrolled anymore." It felt like a slap. He spilled that she'd flunked most of her classes, quit going, and was probably getting kicked out. That's when it hit me. I'd been played for an entire year. I didn't stop cold turkey, not yet. But I was finished being her personal ATM. The following Friday, I sent $250 instead of $500. She noticed immediately. My phone lit up. "Hey, that was only half. Everything okay?" I left her on read. An hour later, "You forgot the other half." Still nothing from me. After that, she went radio silent. For the next 2 weeks, I kept sending $250 each Friday, and she never said a word. I figured she'd finally understood. I was done being used. I had no idea what she had planned. Christmas was coming, and I'd planned to skip the usual family dinner. Those gatherings always turn toxic. But Alex talked me into it. "It's one afternoon, come on." Worst decision. When I arrived, everything felt normal at first. Mom bustling in the kitchen, Dad arranging chairs, Alex scrolling on his phone. For a second I wondered if I'd misjudged the situation. Then Emily walked in. She didn't acknowledge me at all. She dropped onto the sofa and announced to the room, "Seriously, why did he even show up? He's so annoying." Dead silence. She rolled her eyes and added, "Nobody asked you to come." I looked at my parents, waiting for them to defend me. They just kept setting out silverware like she'd commented on the weather. I didn't say a thing. I took my keys and left. Less than 24 hours later, there was violent knocking at my door. I opened it to Emily barging in, Mom and Dad trailing behind her like backup. Mom shook her head theatrically. Dad shut the door behind them as if this were a planned intervention. Emily threw herself onto my couch and without any apology asked, "So when are you sending the rest of the money this week?" That's when the depth of her entitlement truly sank in. She honestly believed the cash flow was my lifelong obligation. Not a word of thanks for the past year, just pure expectation. When I told her the payments were finished permanently, she laughed like it was a prank. My parents immediately took her side. Mom said Emily was going through a hard time, and it was my responsibility as the older brother. Dad nodded along. So I laid out every lie. The secret roommates, the dropped classes, the coming expulsion, everything Alex had told me. Emily didn't even look ashamed, just irritated that I'd found out. Mom shrugged it off. Dad said, "It's not that serious." Then Mom actually said Emily wasn't built for hardship the way you were, and that men have it easier making money anyway. Emily sat there with her arms folded, waiting for me to fold first. Instead, I opened my banking app in front of all of them and deleted the recurring transfer to her account. Her expression turned venomous. She leapt up screaming that I had no right. Mom gasped like I'd robbed a church. Dad rolled his eyes and walked out. Emily stormed out, slamming my door so hard the walls shook. Mom gave me the classic disappointed mother stare before leaving. I locked up and finally exhaled. The peace didn't last. Starting the next morning, my phone became a war zone. Emily alternating between insults and demands. Mom sending essays about how I was abandoning family, and random numbers, Emily's friends, calling me every name under the sun and saying it was my duty as a man to fund her lifestyle. I blocked them all. That same evening, I stepped out for groceries and found Emily and Mom waiting outside my building again. Emily looked worn out but still defiant. Mom massaged her temples like a martyr. Emily skipped the small talk. "You have one final chance to make this right." I said no. She lost it, ranting about rent and bills and how she didn't have time for a job. Mom jumped in with the usual, family sticks together speech, and you obviously have more money than she does. So I told them the real math. I'd handed over $26,000 in 1 year while she did nothing. I wasn't sacrificing my own future for her endless vacation. Emily screeched that was selfish, that she would have helped me in my place, a blatant lie, and finally admitted she'd had a job but quit because it stressed me out and I deserve better. That was the last straw. I told her she'd never see another dollar from me and needed to adult for once. She stormed off again. Mom trailed after her, throwing one last guilt dagger glance. My phone finally went quiet. I dared to hope it was over. Then Alex called and opened with, "Bro, Emily just moved back in with Mom and Dad." Apparently she'd arrived with bags, swearing it was temporary, but Alex wasn't buying it. "She won't shut up about how it's all your fault." A week later, Mom left a voicemail I didn't answer, followed by a text. "Call me, we need to talk." I knew the script. When I rang back, she launched straight in. "Emily can't stay here long term. The house is too crowded, so since you won't send money, she should live with you." I actually laughed. Mom called me cold. I told her absolutely not and hung up. The next afternoon, I came home to Emily parked in the hallway with 2 huge suitcases. She wasn't crying or pleading, she looked like she was checking into a hotel. I walked right past her and opened my door. She tried to follow with the bags. I blocked her. She said, "Mom told me you agreed." I told her to leave. She rolled her eyes. "You have the extra room, no girlfriend, no life, what's the big deal?" I said my piece and my boundaries were the big deal. She screamed I was leaving my own sister on the street. I asked if she'd applied anywhere. She sneered, "Mom and Dad said you'd handle everything." I stepped inside and closed the door in her face. She banged for a minute, then gave up. An hour later, Mom rang again, livid. Emily came home sobbing, "I didn't raise you to be heartless." I deleted the message. That night, I slept like a rock. But a few days later, my bank texted me about a suspicious $500 transfer attempt from Emily's phone. She'd apparently kept my login somewhere. I shut the entire account down, opened new ones, changed every password. Mom called demanding I unblock Emily because she's desperate. I called back once more and told her I was done with Emily, done with her, done with the whole circus. She screamed I'd die alone and regret it. I hung up mid-sentence and blocked every family number except Alex. Silence. Beautiful silence. Then Alex rang a couple weeks later. After some chit-chat, he said completely deadpan, "Hey man, quick question, can you spot me $5,000? I almost choked. He cracked up. "Your face right now, I wish I could see it. I'm messing with you." We laughed until we couldn't breathe. Before he hung up, he added, "Seriously though, you did the right thing. Emily actually got a job. Can you believe it?" I smiled wider than I had in years. Not my circus, not my monkeys, not anymore. Update 6 months down the line. Life is the best it's ever been. No more bleeding money, no more manipulation, no more Emily. But just when I thought the saga was closed, Alex called again. "You're gonna love this update." Turns out Emily hated the job. Parents got sick of supporting her, told her to pay rent or leave. She called them selfish and bounced. Moved in with the same friends who used to harass me. 2 months later, they booted her for never paying or cleaning. Then a blocked number popped up on my phone. "Hey, I know we left things bad, but I really need a couch for a bit until I get on my feet." I deleted it and smiled. Alex summed it up perfectly. "Looks like you're her absolute last resort now." I replied, "Not anymore." Emily made her bed. Now she gets to sleep in it. Thanks for reading this wild ride. If it made you feel all the things, hit like, share it around, and subscribe for more real-life chaos turned into lessons. Your support keeps these stories coming. See you in the next one.